Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mason. I'm coming to you from Canada, British Columbia to be specific. I'm out here on the West Coast. Let me know where you're watching from. Make sure to join in on the conversation. I love to see it. Today we're going to look up for some Americans who think they're the main characters. Americans with that classic American ignorance, arrogance, narcissism, and a good mix of the bunch. Let's check it out. I'm sure there's going to be Americans actually exhibiting that behavior, and there's going to be people who aren't Americans probably describing Americans that they've met who have a main character problem. All right, let's pick some videos. Let's check it out. Let's go with this chick here. She says Americans are the main characters. Okay.
Guys, we are the main characters of this app. No matter how much they want to act like we're not. They wanted to diss us.
Who?
Let that eagle sound come in. Yeah, we're back, bitches.
Why are you whispering?
And we're not gonna be like that. Main characters of the world. I don't give a fuck. Do we think we're better then? No. It's just main character energy. We've always had it. So I'm sorry that we think this way.
Your entire video is literally screaming that your opinion is that you are better than the rest of the world, but sure.
Do we think we're better then? No. It's just main character energy. We've always had it.
More like main character cringe. I don't know. My opinion.
So I'm sorry that we think this way, but really not sorry because everybody was missing.
You can't say I'm sorry that we think this way, but really not sorry. Then you're not sorry. So why did you say I'm sorry? I'm sorry, but not sorry.
We've always had it.
Stupidest
so I'm sorry
statement.
that we think this way, but really not sorry because everybody was missing us. Australians and Canadians. Just know, in New York, it's on site, guys.
Okay, what does that mean? Why is she against Australians and Canadians? And what does it mean to be on site? Does she just want to square up with any random Australian or Canadian walking around in New York City? Is this right after the election? Is she a Trump supporter? Like, I'm just curious what's going on. What prompted her video? Born and raised in Brooklyn. Reggaetonera, gym rat, goal is 10K. Yeah, she was weapons grade cringe, but let's go to a new one.
Wondering why Europe is obsessed with America? Well, there's two reasons. The first reason is because so many Europeans immigrated to America, Germans, Swiss, UK people, and their ancestors and their family and their relatives, a lot of them are here in America. Reason number two. So reason number two, we rescued Europe, low-key. At least we take the credit for rescuing Europe and pretty much the world during World War II. Developing the atomic bomb, and that really just gave us like GOAT status amongst the Europeans. They're like, ooh, they got the big one, so don't mess with them. And we're also gonna need to ally with them because we need their help, so that they can use the big ting on the bad boys. And then NATO, and then Western culture, and then the Soviet Union collapsing. America, we dum. Wondering why.
Okay, more weapons grade. America is like that really, really stupid high school jock who's incredibly arrogant, incredibly narcissistic, yet, you know, they do have a certain athleticism, i.e., their incredible military. Listen, they spend trillions on their military, but a lot of the things that he said aren't necessarily as black and white. There's a lot of nuance in there that he's leaving out, especially about World War II and the decades to follow. America was put into that position and kind of, I mean, Mark Carney's speech, I think, spoke to a lot of this stuff around, you know, putting the sign up in the window. We've been kind of letting this mutually beneficial relationship go on between the U.S. and the rest of the world. But I think the U.S. and U.S. citizens, for sure, they don't necessarily understand how global politics and economics work and how much reliance they truly have on other countries. They can't just truly go it alone. The EU is an enormous trading bloc. Canada's biggest trading partner. And, since Trump's been in office, they've just been burning bridges and attacking people left and right and destabilizing a lot of relationships, and diplomacy and foreign policy has been not the best. Trump's domestic policy is, I would say, going pretty poorly. Seems he has even come to understand that the negative attention and the negative reactions to everything that ICE has been up to, seems that even Trump has realized that, and now you've kind of, I don't know if they pulled out of Minnesota yet, but I haven't seen as much in the news. But yeah, very typical. What you saw there was an incredible lack. I mean, the way he framed it, he framed America as having zero humility whatsoever, and just being a dick, basically. All right, let's see what this young lady's got to say.
I feel like Americans have the biggest case of main character syndrome. Let's start off with Tyler. Because how are they trying to tell this woman what her race is when she's told you several times she's not black, she's coloured? Okay, you may not like that, but that's how it goes in South Africa. You can't tell them they're wrong and then expect them to then form to your own standards of what race.
I think there's too much context I don't understand. I don't know who Tyler is or what she's talking about. Let's go to this young lady.
I think it's quite fascinating and probably should be studied that you said that Americans have main character syndrome, yet you commented under one of my posts 5 times, all separate times. Americans were literally off the app for 12 hours. And instead of other folks taking the opportunity to censor themselves and create whatever content y'all say that Americans aren't doing, or the content opposite of the content that y'all were tired of seeing from us, y'all took the time to talk about the metric system and geography. But can you name all 50 states? Quickly. We are the main characters because you all have built your stories around us. We are the plot. And while you all think that Americans don't know geography, I do.
We're not laughing with you, though. We're laughing at you.
And as someone who's both lived around the world and traveled around the world, there's one thing for certain and 2 things that's for sure, is that American culture, and let me be clear that when I say American, I mean my people, is the most popular and imitated globally. Our music, our lingo, our mannerisms, our style.
No, all of that came from other places and immigrants that came to America. So it's really, none of it's really American.
Is legit imitated from coast to coast. So it's not a matter that we have main character syndrome. We never auditioned for the role. Y'all gave us the part. I think it's quite fast.
Okay, she's insufferable. Who do we got here? What's this gentleman got to say? I have no idea what's going on here. Let's get it. What's this gentleman got to say?
Sometimes I feel like we are, or let me say, sometimes I feel like I am way too invested in American current affairs, media, and politics and stuff like that. Because you see stuff from news coming out of America about what Trump is doing with regards to Venezuela, Iran, and
that's because America is basically a tabloid magazine in video form, or a reality television program that everybody at times has difficulty looking away from because it's so unbelievable, it's so toxic, it's so divisive, they're so obnoxious that a lot of the times they can't be ignored. Couple that with the fact that their military is absolutely massive, and the current leader of that country can instigate a world war at any moment and has the keys to nuclear weapons, and also has the ability to economically attack and coerce, and he's doing it. He's destroying decades-long diplomatic relationships, namely with my country of Canada. There's so many Canadians that are just completely done with American politics and the U.S. in general. They're not going to be going there. They're not spending their money there. Tourism is way down. And that's not just Canada. That's across Europe. That's across many countries around the world. People are choosing to spend their money elsewhere. They're tired of it. The U.S. is slipping, and I don't think they really realize it. And it might not be during Trump's reign. It's likely going to be after. But Trump is just somewhat of a puppet. He's a symptom of the true problem, which is this American voting bloc, 70 million more who voted for Trump, and Christian fundamentalism, and ultra focus and ultra militaristic love, American exceptionalism and isolationism, extreme nationalism, xenophobia, authoritarianism. It's all hallmarks of a society slipping towards authoritarian fascism. But keep doing you. See how it goes. You know, AI and social media, if anything, is going to make it easier for these totalitarian loving corporate oligarchs to start monitoring and using AI to just politically and technologically go after people. It's coming.
Greenland, and you see like rulings from the Supreme Court, especially with regards to like women's bodies and marginalized communities like the LGBTQ community and all that. And then you sometimes get angry, you're like, oh man, shit, like, you know, there's so much wrong with our world right now. And then you have to remember that you are not American, even though you can sympathize with them, but you're not American. Like, even though South Africa has its problems, like, at least we're not America. And I feel like Americans have these main character syndrome because we are way too invested in what's going on there, even though it does affect, you know, most of the
He's
other
right.
countries, especially like third world countries, but we are way too invested in their politics more than ours, because I think most people can name the mayor of New York, but most people in South Africa can't name their mayor. Like, they don't know who their mayor is, but they know who won the last elections in, I think, November or December last year for New York, which is kind of crazy. That's why I think Americans have this main character syndrome, because we give them that.
He makes a good point about people not being involved in their politics on a local level, which is quite sad, because that's the way that they could actually make differences in their communities, and then more broadly in their provinces, states, and or countries. Re-engaging, I think, the younger generations in political initiatives and having them understand their civic duty, I think, would be hugely beneficial for society, wherever you're watching this from, wherever you're at. A lot of people are just kind of tired of and they just don't want to give it that energy because it's so toxic and it's so taxing to become involved, especially with the way insult politics now kind of dominates. It's not really about platforms. It's not really about the issues. It's more so about a popularity contest and who can get the most votes, who can be the most awful and horrible and dig up the best dirt and essentially just wrangle and lie enough to get enough votes. Because that's what politicians do, right? Lie, 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 lie. Elected. Not following through on anything that they campaigned on. The way it works. All right. Let's check out this young lady. Okay, get out of here.
Machiavelli. Bitches come and go, but you know what?
And another thing, if y'all don't want Black Americans to have main character energy, quit treating us like main characters. Quit dressing how we dress and talk like we talk. And
okay, she's talking about American politics. All right, I think that's enough for today's video. I've had enough. I gotta go. I gotta go to the exercise. I gotta go to the gym. I gotta go to the exercise. I gotta go to the gym and lift some things to burn off some energy after all of that weapons grade bull-ish that we had to listen to. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. Later, Gator.